In general, people should be able to choose, but I recognise from the discussion that the more choice there is, the more cost. And whether this is the right time to put more cost into the system, or whether there are other priorities in the health service, begin to make me perhaps rethink the whole question of choice. But the principles are very, very, very sound, providing the cost implications are understood, and it doesn't cause sacrifices in other parts of the health service.
Personally, I like the idea. Professionally, we'll see how it goes, because there's a lot of bureaucracy to cut through in order for it to work properly. I welcome the whole concept. I myself have a problem registering within my borough, changing from one doctor to another within the same PCT area. So with the less of the bureaucracy, hopefully that will ease the burden.
I think it is important for people to choose practices, especially about choices and about the services that they can get. But there is going to be a lot of a high demand of patients actually demanding a service with so much provisions that are already provided in one practice, whereas a single-handed might lose out. So that's my fear, because there are good practices out there single-handed but don't have the capacity to actually develop and provide other services. And the patient to have that choice is very important as well, to keep that good doctor, but the NHS in order to recognise those good practices and develop them.
Well, I think it's in principle a good idea. It means that patients have choice where they want to go. And particularly, as far as I'm concerned, living in the City of London, I know that many workers, and there are thousands of workers come in every day, have actually told me that that's where they would like to have their GP practice, rather than taking half a day off or a whole day off to get to their GP back in wherever they live. But so in principle, good idea.
Very much in favour of this. I represent patients at one of London's largest HIV clinics, and people have great difficulty in getting a GP who first of all knows about their HIV status, and secondly doesn't exercise the ignorance, stigma and discrimination which they often encounter when they go to the GP's practice where they live. So if they could go to a GP who had the specialist knowledge and was sympathetic to their needs as patients, it would wholeheartedly change the quality of their care.
I think patients having more choice is a great thing, and I think being able to choose your GP is number one at people's hearts when it comes to GP surgeries. You know, we know there's a lot of problems with GP surgeries, and to be given the idea that you can change, and the decision's not based on boundaries, is a great thing for people. It enhances their power to take control of their healthcare.
I would much prefer that by and large there are boundary rules, but I think that the whole setup about the relationship between GPs and patients could be looked at, and I think that there should be agreements drawn up between the primary care trust, for as long as it lasts, the GPs, the service users and the local authority about the relationship between GPs and their patients, and that should be arrived at in the end by consensus, the basis on which people are on a GP list, the basis on which they are refused or removed. I think that needs looking into quite seriously, because at the moment GPs are apparently allowed to remove patients from their list, and I'm told that they have to provide a reason, but I'm not aware of how that's done. So I just think that the whole relationship, the basis of the relationship between GPs and their patients should be looked at again, and it should be a consensual thing arrived at.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's wonderful. I'm American and I've lived here 34 years. I'm a British citizen. But from the day I arrived, I could never understand why you can't just pick a doctor where you want to be. So if I live in St. John's Wood, I might like a doctor in Knightsbridge, where a lot of my friends live. And I've never understood how one can't move from one to the other. If you don't like your doctor, you should be able to move, and not necessarily in your neighborhood. So I'm all for that.